The crowd roared as James Hartley played the final notes of his signature song. 50,000 people on their feet, screaming his name, while James stood center stage, bathed in electric blue light. The band crescendoed behind him as he lifted his custom guitar skyward in a pose that would grace magazine covers worldwide by morning. James smiled, but his eyes remained distant. 20 years of astronomical success had brought him everything he'd ever wanted. Everything except peace. Later that night, as his tour bus rumbled toward the next city, James sat alone in the back lounge, staring at the rain streaking across the window. His phone buzzed with notifications. 3 million new followers after tonight's performance. A congratulatory text from his agent about breaking another streaming record. An invitation to perform at the Grammy Awards. He scrolled past them all, stopping only at a message from Charlotte, his 19-year-old daughter. "Happy birthday, Dad. Wish I knew you." He deleted it without responding. The familiar ache in his chest intensified. 3 divorces. A daughter he barely knew. Parents he hadn't spoken to in 15 years. This was the price of becoming a legend. "We'll be in Seattle by morning, Mr. Hartley," his driver called back. "Should miss the worst of this storm." James nodded absently. "I'm going to drive myself for a bit. Need to clear my head." His security team protested, but James was already grabbing his keys. His cherry red sports car followed behind the tour bus for logistics reasons. Sometimes he just needed to be alone. The mountain roads glistened dangerously as rain pummeled the windshield. James accelerated, feeling the powerful engine respond. Music blasted through the premium speakers. Not his own songs, but the classics that had inspired him as a teenager. Back when music was about passion, not profit. Back when he still wrote songs from the heart. Now, he merely manufactured hits. He took the curves faster than he should have. The speedometer crept upward as his thoughts darkened. What was it all for? The fame, the fortune, the endless adoration of strangers. What good was any of it when he'd sacrificed every relationship that mattered? James barely registered the sharp bend ahead until his headlights illuminated the warning sign. Too late. His tires hydroplaned across the slick asphalt. He yanked the wheel, overcorrected. The guardrail appeared in a flash of metal and reflective paint. Then came the sickening sensation of falling, the world spinning in slow motion as his car plummeted over the edge. The last thing James remembered was a strange calmness washing over him as the car tumbled down the ravine. Then, nothing. When James opened his eyes, he was standing in a place unlike anywhere he'd ever been. A vast landscape stretched before him, bathed in a light that seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere at once. No sun hung in the sky, yet a warm golden radiance illuminated rolling fields that shimmered like they were composed of millions of tiny stars. In the distance, magnificent mountains of opalescent crystal reached toward an endless azure sky. The air itself seemed to hum with music, not discernible melodies, but a harmonious vibration that resonated within his very being. "Where am I?" James whispered, surprised that his voice made no echo. "You're in the between," came a gentle reply. James turned to find himself facing a figure of calm radiance. Not blindingly bright, but glowing with an inner light that made their features both distinct and somehow fluid. They appeared neither male nor female, yet somehow both and neither. Their eyes held the depth of centuries, but their smile was warm and immediate. "The between," James repeated, finding his voice stronger now. "You mean I'm dead?" The being's expression remained serene. "Not quite. Your body fights for life, even now. Doctors work to save you as we speak. You have suffered great trauma, James Hartley." They gestured toward what looked like a flowing stream nearby. Except instead of water, it seemed to be made of pure light. "Would you care to walk with me?" James nodded, finding himself drawn to this calm presence. As they walked alongside the luminescent stream, James noticed that with each step, the music in the air changed subtly, responding to their movements or perhaps their thoughts. "Your music has touched millions," the being observed. "Such a rare gift." "My music?" James laughed bitterly. "My brand, you mean? I haven't written anything real in years. It's all manufactured now, calculated to maximize streams and downloads." The being nodded thoughtfully. Yet it began with passion, with love. James stopped walking. A memory surfaced, himself at 16, playing guitar on his parents' porch as Sarah, his high school girlfriend, watched with adoring eyes. The song he'd written just for her. The promise they'd made to build a life together. I had different dreams then, James said quietly. Simpler ones. And what happened to those dreams? The being asked, though James suspected they already knew. I traded them. James's voice cracked. For stadiums and platinum records. For magazine covers and millions of followers who don't actually know me at all. They continued walking in silence for what might have been moments or hours. Time seemed different here. Eventually, they came to a place where the stream widened into a still pool of radiance. The being gestured toward it. Would you like to see? James approached the pool cautiously. As he gazed into its depths, images began to form. Himself, lying broken in a hospital bed, machines beeping, medical staff rushing around him. Then other images, his daughter Charlotte as a toddler. Arms raised for him to pick her up while he walked past, phone pressed to his ear. Sarah, his first love, tears streaming down her face as he told her his career had to come first. His parents sitting alone at a table set for 3 on Christmas. His latest ex-wife accepting her divorce papers with hollow eyes. Stop, James whispered, tears welling in his eyes. Please stop. The images faded, but the pain they evoked remained. James sank to his knees beside the pool, unexpected sobs racking his body. I've wasted everything, he confessed, the words torn from someplace deep within him. Everything that actually mattered. For what? For strangers screaming my name. For money I don't even know how to enjoy. I abandoned everyone who ever truly loved me. Tears streamed down his face unchecked. My daughter doesn't even know me, and it's my fault. The being knelt beside James, their presence a gentle comfort amid his anguish. Success itself is not the enemy, James. But when we chase it at the expense of love, we create our own emptiness. The being's voice held no judgment, only profound compassion. Look again. They gestured toward the pool. This time, James saw different images. A young fan clutching his album, finding courage through his lyrics during cancer treatment. A couple who met at his concert, now married with children. Communities where his foundation had built music schools, though he'd never visited them himself. Your work has created ripples of good you never witnessed, the being said softly. But imagine if your gifts had been paired with presence, with genuine connection. James stared at the shimmering pool, his tears subsiding. Is it too late? His voice was barely a whisper. Have I lost them forever? Time works differently for souls than for bodies, the being replied. What matters is not how much remains, but how you choose to use it. They helped James to his feet. Cool me. There is more to see. They walked toward a magnificent structure that resembled a cathedral made of light. Inside, the music that permeated the air grew more complex, more beautiful. James recognized elements of every song he'd ever loved, every piece that had moved him, woven together in perfect harmony. Your life's composition is not yet complete, the being said, as they stood in the center of the cathedral. The question is what notes you will add to it now. What will be your finale, James Hartley? James closed his eyes, listening to the music surrounding him. In it, he heard possibilities, redemption, reconnection, love rekindled. I want to make things right, he said, with Charlotte, with my parents, with Sarah, if she'll even speak to me. I want my music to mean something again. The being smiled. Then perhaps it is time for you to return. But how do I find my way back? James asked, suddenly fearful. How will I remember all this? The heart remembers what the mind may forget, the being replied, placing a hand over James's chest. The love you have rediscovered here will guide you. The cathedral began to fade around them, the golden light dimming. The music grew distant. Wait, James called out. Who are you? Are you an angel? Are you God? The being's smile was the last thing visible as the light faded completely. I'm a messenger. Remember what matters, James Hartley. Remember love. Everything went dark. The first thing James heard was beeping. Steady, electronic, irritating. Then came the pain. His body felt like one massive bruise. He tried to open his eyes, finding even that simple action required immense effort. He's waking up, someone said. Call the doctor. Slowly, the world came into focus. Hospital room, medical equipment, a nurse adjusting his four. James tried to speak but found a tube in his throat. Panic flashed through him until the nurse touched his arm. "Mr. Hartley, you're intubated. Don't try to talk. You've been in a coma for 11 days. You're at Seattle General Hospital. Blink if you understand me." James blinked. The next 48 hours passed in a blur of doctors, tests, and the slow, painful process of returning to his body. They removed the breathing tube, explained his injuries, multiple fractures, internal bleeding, traumatic brain injury. "It's nothing short of miraculous you survived," his doctor told him. "Most people who go over that particular cliff don't live to tell about it." James said nothing. The memory of the golden realm and the being of light remained vivid in his mind. When he was alone, he wept quietly, mourning not his injuries but the life he had wasted. When his team finally arrived, manager, publicist, assistants, they found him changed. "We've issued statements to the press," his publicist began. "Your fans are devastated, but—" "Call my daughter," James interrupted, his voice hoarse from disuse. His team exchanged glances. "Sir, we have the tour to reschedule and—" "Call Charlotte," James said more firmly. "Now, and my parents. And find Sarah Miller. She would be about 43 now. Last I heard, she was teaching music in Portland." His manager stepped forward. "James, you've been through trauma. Let's focus on your recovery first, and then—" "No." The quiet authority in James's voice silenced the room. "I almost died. I'm not wasting another day. If none of you will help me, I'll do it myself." He reached for the hospital phone despite the pain lancing through his arm. His assistant stepped forward. "I'll make the calls, Mr. Hartley." 3 days later, Charlotte arrived. She stood awkwardly at his bedside, a beautiful young woman with her mother's eyes and his stubborn chin. "Hey, Dad." "Charlotte." James's voice broke on her name. "Thank you for coming. Mom said I should. She said you sounded different." James nodded. "I am different. Or maybe I'm finally the person I was supposed to be all along." He took a painful breath. "I know I've missed everything. Your childhood, your graduations, your first heartbreak. I can't get those years back. But if you're willing, I'd like to know who you are now." Charlotte studied him skeptically. "Why the sudden change of heart?" "I had a revelation," James said simply, "about what matters." To his surprise, she pulled up a chair. "I've got a few hours before my flight back." It was a beginning, a small one but real. In the weeks that followed, as James's body slowly healed, news of his transformation leaked to the press. The story of the legendary musician calling his estranged family from his hospital bed made headlines. But what truly captured public attention came 6 weeks after the accident. James Hartley, still using a cane, held a press conference. He announced the donation of half his fortune to establish music education programs in underserved communities nationwide, programs he would personally oversee. He then premiered a new song, his first truly original work in years. A simple, heartfelt ballad about second chances, about coming back from the edge. As cameras flashed, a reporter asked, "What happened to you on that mountain, Mr. Hartley?" James smiled, his eyes clear and present in a way they hadn't been for decades. "I remembered what matters," he said. "And it isn't fame or fortune. It's connection. It's love. It's using whatever gifts we have to make the world a little better." The press conference clips went viral. Cynics questioned his sanity. Fans declared it his most authentic moment ever. But James Hartley paid little attention to the public reaction. He was too busy rebuilding relationships, one conversation at a time. Too busy living the truth he had discovered beyond the veil. That our purpose isn't found in acclaim or achievement, but in the courage to open our hearts to love and service, even when it requires sacrificing what we once thought we couldn't live without. As James's story reminds us, sometimes we must lose everything to discover what truly matters. Whether you believe his experience was divine intervention, a neurological phenomenon, or something in between, the wisdom remains the same. Life's greatest purpose is found not in what we accumulate, but in how deeply we connect. With others, with ourselves, with something greater than ourselves. If this story touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who might be chasing success at the expense of what truly matters. Someone who needs a reminder that it's never too late to change direction. Like this video, Subscribe to our channel for more stories that inspire and challenge, and help spread a message our hurried world desperately needs to hear. That in the end, only love remains. Everything else falls away.